The 9th day of Christmas, Aunt Matilda's Christmas. Aunt Matilda went to heaven. On Christmas Eve she came in vision, and so we asked, "Do you see what is going on down here?" "Oh, good heavens, no," she replied. "We pay no attention to these things, nor shall you." So we see that these are very, very separated existences. The life of God is a completely different plane of life. A man must be sovereignly entered in his spirit and drawn up to it. The Father has decreed that this entry is only by believing in His Son. The secret world has put out the light of the ordinary world, for there are of pagans dark forces in the world, which pull all these to intractable darkness. The foolishness of all the various religions has made a mockery of life. Those living in heaven enjoy the life we were first given, much enhanced. God coming to earth made real to us all that is. Perhaps the human life of Messiah, one could say, made seem ordinary what is extraordinary and supernatural. Nevertheless, a man cannot himself leap into a supernatural life. That is why we are given natural life and earthly life, that by the image of our life in Messiah, we come to see what will be. But the story begins simply. There never had been a census of the whole world, and we had found ourselves wondering in that time and in this, if these wars and revolutions inclined us to imagine that God no longer governs the world or those in it. We were mistaken. God permits that these awful catastrophes should take place, just for the salvation and perfection of this or that person, whom the world knows not. You, for instance, or I. By a long series of extraordinary events, Joseph must needs go to Bethlehem in the land of Ephratah, and there was born the child. Who can resist the conviction that you have had from the beginning your purposes, controlling every moment of every human will? Caesar Augustus, in issuing his decree, was accomplishing a predetermined purpose of the Ancient of Days. The prophecy was from an obscurity, Micah, 700 years before. Joseph and Mary acted as perfectly free, voluntary beings. We become bewildered at the domain of infinite problems presented by reconciling divine sovereignty with human freedom. Duty, not metaphysics, is our rule of life. In ancient times, death was hallowed. Ancestors even worshipped. While the viability of children was taken for granted, most died almost immediately. So we see that the very infancy of Jesus is a gospel. In you, birth has become a hallowed event. There was no room in the inn. Jesus was immediately and always rejected. The world has no room for you. You were born apart from all the stir and turmoil of the world, in a humble stall in a dark cavern, in the narrow streets of an obscure mountain village. You lived for 30 years in the secluded basin of the unknown, and passed away without attracting a single word of notice from any poet or philosopher of Rome. It is from God that comes life, light, goodness, and genius, which belong to no age, but which find their likeness in the divine child, born not of the will of flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. We ourselves have our own special existence and character, our own work to do, and our own special nourishment from God. Like as to your work in the world, you have to be born in each one of us. Messiah is the great and only God, and can do all things. All events of the world must be brought to just and loving reconciliation. Your blood atones all that is to be atoned. We are true to you insofar as we are consciously trying to do for others the work of Christ. We have only one life, only 1 second of your eternity, but this becomes majestic when it can be seen to be a part of one mighty whole. The unity of the world craves at Christmas is found in you. Amen.